We were probably the worst employees though, because we were definitely coming into shifts 20 minutes
sure.
late. Oh my gosh, traffic was so bad. Holding two fresh venti frappuccinos, one for the other.
The traffic was the drive-through line for sure.
Yeah. Looking back, I remember thinking they were the worst management team, but they really gave us the grace to become best friends.
I think they saw. They were like, no, we can't interfere. They're meant to be friends. We have to just let it happen. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, A Little Bit Related. We are two best friends who are going to be discussing relationships, womanhood, and just overall our healing journeys together. I'm Emily. I'm a certified cozy girl. I'm a former teacher who now works in the edtech space, definitely an introvert with lots of social anxiety, recovering perfectionist. I notice everything, I remember everything, and somehow I always know the one thing that no one thought of. Basically, I keep the peace, the plans, and the mental receipts.
And I'm Morgan. I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner, book lover, probably in my healing girl era. I talk too much, I definitely feel too deeply, and I always accidentally end up in charge of all the group plans. Basically, I'm the chaos coordinator who brings snacks and the emotional support. Emily and I met as teenagers, and during that time we both had questionable bangs, even more questionable dating choices. One of us never stops talking, the other one avoids phone calls, but somehow it works. We've grown through career pivots, cross-country moves, and late-night voice memos, and we're so excited to be here with you today.
This is the story of how we went from coworkers to chosen family and how to hold on to friendships when life just doesn't stay the same.
We hope you stick around, and let's jump into it. Do you remember us meeting each other? Because I remember meeting each other, and I have a clear memory that I'm going to discuss, but I'm just so curious if yours lines up with my timeline.
I think mine's more just like a vague, I think it's like a bunch of different memories got meshed together at the beginning of us meeting each other. So I'm definitely curious what your perspective is.
So we were both working the cosmetic counter at Walgreens, and I remember I was so excited for this job, which sounds crazy now, but I really was looking forward to that $7.14 an hour. And I remember our team lead was walking me around the store and introducing me to everybody, and you were working, and she came over and she was like, "Hey, this is Morgan, the new girl." You were very pleasant, but you just kind of were like, "Oh, hey, okay. Like, whatever.
Business, I'm working. Yeah. That doesn't affect me."
Yeah, you were just like, "Okay, that's great. Thanks. I don't really care." But again, it really wasn't like a rude thing. This was just like a little side job. And you did not let customers or micromanaging leads or managers or anybody ever get to you. You were just very much so like, I'm just here to make a little money. And I love that. And just getting to work with you so often, I really started looking forward to your shifts. And I remember thinking I want to be this girl's friend so bad. And I hope she will want to be my friend too.
I don't think at that point in my life I had really experienced making friends at my jobs. So it wasn't even that I wasn't drawn to you or anything. It didn't even occur to me. But then I don't know, you kept coming back, obviously, because you were scheduled.
I worked there.
And at first I was honestly because you are very outgoing and I'm definitely not. And so I think I was kind of just I don't know how to interact or how to reciprocate that or whatever. But I did find myself definitely looking forward to our shifts. And I think you were definitely bribing me with coffee. You'd stopping it coffee
for sure.
For us.
Yes.
It worked. I'm clearly
secret time. Bought. I would look at our schedules and see when you were going to overlap with me, and I'd be like, yes. I always laugh looking back on those times because I just sometimes meet people and I'm like, wow, they're amazing, and I just want to be in their orbit. But I really think that you were the first time I ever experienced that. At that time, I felt so self-conscious and overthought every word and action, and just being around you who didn't do that was really refreshing. And but at the time I really didn't realize you were dealing with a lot of the same internal feelings about perfectionism and having it all together.
It was really a different experience for me too, because friendships before or growing up, obviously we were teenagers when we met. So most of my friendships were high school and stuff like that. I always felt I was just kind of tagging on to friend groups or whatever. It was really cool for me to have somebody that was just intentionally wanting to be my friend. And I was just this is okay. This is going to be my person.
Do you remember your mom didn't think I was real for the longest?
Stop it.
Wait, I can't. I think about it all the time.
I completely forgot about that. Morgan, I'm not kidding. I would come home and be like, oh yeah. She would ask how was work, and I'd be like, oh, it was good. Morgan and I went and got Milano's pizza over our lunch break or whatever. And she was just like, oh, okay, honey, sure you did. Like, whatever. Or I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go hang out with Morgan after. And she's just like, okay.
I don't know why she would think you would even like who what were you trying to prove?
Why would I? I had never done that before. Like, I wasn't even like a big imaginary friend person when I was
No.
little. Like, I don't know. That's just how introverted I was, though. Like, she would sooner believe that I had made you up completely than that I had just organically made a friend out in the world.
Yeah, I think what's funny is that she thought you were making me up when I clearly was almost stalking you at that point.
You were actively like forcing a friendship to develop without me
Yeah.
realizing it. And
And your
she's,
mom's like, I don't know. Like I said, I always think it's funny to like look back because like you said, I really did think that you were just effortlessly cool, just chill, laid back, not a care in the world, nothing was getting
yeah.
to you. Just, getting your wins in whenever you could. I really looking back, I would have never ever imagined that we were dealing with similar insecurities. Like for me, just chronic overthinker, self-conscious about everything. At, I feel like I would lay in bed at night and think of every conversation I'd had that day and criticize where I could have been funnier or wittier or, less cringe.
Yeah, 100%. And I was doing the same thing. Like I would be like, "Oh, this person actually wants to be my friend, but I said this today and that's going to ruin it. She's actually not going to she's going to quit. She's going to no call no show her job tomorrow because she hates me so
Yeah.
much." The perfectionism is so insidious. Like there's no escaping it and it will ruin you.
It will ruin you and it will sneak in at the oddest times. It'll be like a family vacation and you've overthought every single aspect of it. And it's like, if I don't have it together, my family will hate me. I will be disowned as the oldest daughter.
Right. I feel like you're right. It's always the worst in regards to like people that love you and like are already like for sure locked in as part of your circle.
Yeah.
Because like if I go to the grocery store and I say something dumb, I'm like, whatever. I just won't go to that grocery store anymore, I guess. Like I don't care. Whatever. But like somebody that you care about or like a relationship you have, you're so worried about ruining it or them not wanting you anymore that you like overthink it way too much. And they're the people that are least likely to care or,
So
leave you
true.
over it.
Yeah. Looking back at just how we became friends and how we secretly both dealing with a lot of the same emotional feelings that we were having about being the responsible one and the one that had it all together. How would you say that being like the responsible one shaped you?
Oh my God. It influenced everything.
Yeah.
Eldest daughter, parents working all the time. So like I was, in charge of my brother and honestly a lot of the neighborhood kids too. Like it wasn't even my brother that I was in charge of. It was the rest of them.
Oh
Not
my
even our
gosh.
family. So like, I don't know, there was just always responsibility. And it's not like, didn't have like involved parents or whatever, but they were hardworking. They were, putting in the hours. They weren't always there to do that kind of stuff. And
Hmm.
not only did, they need the help, but like I felt pressure like I wanted to because like I saw how hard they were working and like I early on like had that kind of guilt of like, oh, they're doing all that for me. Like that's stressful. Like I want to, give back or whatever. And I think that snowballed real quick because it
Yes.
definitely just continued into adulthood and stuff. That's been a hard thing to work on.
Yeah.
What about you though? Was it kind of similar? Or I know we have kind of similar backgrounds,
Mhm.
so
Very similar. I think it's interesting when you say like you felt guilty for all the hard work that they were doing, and I don't think that's something that a lot of children, but especially like younger siblings, I don't think they think that way. But as the oldest, I 100% know what that felt like. And yeah, I totally agree. My parents were really young when they had me and they separated quite young. And I watched them growing up, like just work tirelessly.
yeah.
But because of that, I definitely was like, oh, I don't want to burden them further.
The not wanting to be a burden thing is so real. Like I feel like you could put
Yeah.
no worries if not on my tombstone when I die.
Yeah. If it's okay.
Rest
If you
in
don't
peace.
mind.
If that works out, like if that's not too much.
No worries if not. Secretly, I'm dying on the inside. Exactly, though. That's exactly how it feels. And I've spoken to a lot of other women that are also the oldest. And it's like, I think being the responsible one, it taught you very young to walk into a room and know what every sigh meant, what every silence meant, to read the room and energy of everyone in it. I think just having to know the needs of everyone before you even asked. And unfortunately, just kind of taught us like, well, my needs come second. And nobody said it. Nobody sat down and
Yeah.
explained it. I don't even think our parents knew we felt that way a majority of the time. It's just, yeah, it was easy to forget that I needed things too.
I think that honestly really helped our friendship though, because I know for me, I don't know about you, but like I sensed in you that you were somebody that was worried about my feelings and stuff too. So like I didn't have to like I felt taken care of in that sense. Like it wasn't just me constantly like watching out for you. You were also like kind of aware. You'd be like, "Hey, buddy." if you're, social battery's drained today, like that's okay. Like I didn't have to say that or like power through or whatever. Like you would speak up for me. And it really taught me to speak up for myself a lot. And I think that's been a really strong foundation of our friendship.
I totally agree. I feel the same way. Just thinking about how conscious you are of my feelings and of what I'm going through, just patterns of mine. Like I said earlier, when you're on a family vacation and you plan everything, I think a lot of people will see like photos of my family trips and be like, oh my gosh, so much fun. And you're the one that's like, how'd that reservation you make go? Or did they like this activity you picked? And it always means so much to me that I can just kind of come here and know you get it. And like, while there's so much love for my family and taking care of my family or taking care of friends, there's also like some little pieces of me that maybe didn't get validated. And I know I can
Yeah.
always come to you for those. I think kind of thinking about along these lines, something that always stands out to me is when my grandma passed away. That was like one of the hardest times for me. And you were really one of the few people that just knew how hard I was taking it. Everybody around me was grieving and processing that loss on their own. And I remember just going into like caretaker mode. Like, I have to make sure everybody is eating and sleeping. And if the mood gets too dark, I'm going to make a joke and lighten it. Or if they're, a little tension building from old family feuds, I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be there to mediate it. And it was so easy for me to just put my own feelings on pause. And like I said, you were one of the really few people that just every day checked in like, hey friend, love you, checking on you, making sure you're doing okay. Is there anything I can do for you?
I think we've always seen a little bit of ourselves in each other.
I think it's funny, like looking back, just how normal and honestly mundane we met and became friends. And today, like how close we are, like you were my family. Even my dad like calls you like his secret third favorite daughter. Like it's just like you are our family. And I definitely feel like I've always been a part of your family. When
Once
did
my mom
you
accepted that you existed.
once she believed I was real, yes. So how do you think, like if you described it to somebody else, especially if they're early in a friendship or they haven't experienced friendships like this, how would you just explain to them the bridge from being like really good friends to being family?
I think there's just like this kind of like there's a lot of trust and just a lot of like security that you feel with that person that just it was so like natural and like not even something that I was conscious of or aware of happening. Like it just naturally happened where like I was over at your house and like meeting, your family and
Mm-hmm.
next thing you're over at my house and my dad's helping fix your car and like, not even questioning it or whatever because it's like, yeah, that's Morgan, that's Emily's best friend. Of course we're going to help her with it. So like
Yeah.
it just kind of naturally happened, but like it's always really made our friendship unique because like it's not something that you get in every friendship and that's okay, not every
Mm-hmm.
friendship has to be that way, but like it just really highlights how unique that kind of bond is, because like no matter what, like I know Morgan's going to be there. I know no matter what, living across the country from each other, like it's never even been like, oh, I'm so worried that like it's going to put strain on our friendship and we're not going to be friends anymore, we're going to drift
Yeah.
apart. Like that's honestly never even occurred to me.
Yeah, same. I agree everything you just said. Like, yeah, there's never like a big moment where you're like, okay, this is it. We just became best friends. Like that doesn't really
Yeah.
happen, I don't think. It was just a thousand little moments that all kind of like added up. And like you said, it really could have been so easy to drift apart or, like distance get between us with you living halfway across the country from me a majority of our friendship. But I think just being there for each other through like relationships ending, relationships beginning, through career changes, through burnout, through moving, like there was just always this consistency and presence from you and support from you. And just after years of you always showing up, always being there for me, always knowing I could rely on you, like I just, yeah, it would honestly take more work to not become family than it was to maintain the friendship at that point.
Yeah, I agree. And we've really been able to like maintain that energy through so many phases of life. And I think that that's really not
Mm-hmm.
something that you can say about every friendship. Like we met in our 20s or teens. We were teenagers,
Yeah,
honestly,
we
when
were
we met,
teenagers.
which
Yeah,
is so
it's
crazy.
crazy to think.
um, Especially because like our version of teenager is so different from like we were hardworking and like had been like
Yeah,
holding
yes.
down a job for a few years. So like I felt like we were grown.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now looking back, definitely not. But um I don't know, there was just so much chaos in each of our own individual lives in the beginning, and it's been so cool to like be able to help each other through that, relationships, crash outs, jobs, lots of different things.
Yeah.
um I don't know, I guess I guess I'm just kind of wondering, like, how you feel like our friendship in the beginning, like, when did you feel like, or when did you realize, I guess, that like I was going to be somebody that could help you with like the dating or the chaos that was going on?
Oh my gosh. Well, like you said, you to me looked like you had everything all together and you had
That's so
it all
funny.
figured out. And I know that that's not how you felt at the time, but even to this day, like that's how I describe you. Like anybody that knows me knows you're my best friend. You have 100 different titles to me. So like if anybody asks me, like, what I'm going to do or what's my plan, I'm like, I don't know. Let me call my spiritual advisor. That's Emily. Or I'll say, I don't know. Let me. And I think for me, knowing you were that person was just because you were always really clear with me and that you're really one of the few and first people that had such good communication and gave me that expectation that to this day, I don't even question if you don't respond to my text because I know you're going to respond. And I think for me, the biggest thing was there had been so many SOS, please send help, I'm crashing out. And you dropped everything to be there for me or said, hey, bestie, I need you to self regulate. I'll talk to you in a few hours, and I'll be like, okay, I got this. I can wait till my spiritual advisor's free. I
That's
just
so
think
funny.
through those moments, like I said, to this day, if I have anything going on, and obviously there's a little bit less crash outs now. I don't need middle of the night help
Thank God.
frequently. Usually it's like a 3 to 5 business days that I know that you will respond to me within. But through that, I never sit in anxiety. I'm never nervous. I just fully know that you're going to be there to support me. And if at any moment I was like, SOS, actually, I really need you, you'd be there.
That's so funny because like those same things mean a lot to me, but just like in a different way, like in the opposite way. Like I know that like if I do get distracted, this brain is all over the place. And if I forget to respond to your text right away, I know that you're not gonna read into that or
Mm-hmm.
accuse me of being a bad friend or something like that because you know like I'm gonna I'm gonna respect like it is important to me. And but like as somebody that has insane anxiety and has like my whole life, it's so nice for me to have somebody that I don't have to worry about that stuff with. And I know that, the communication will be there. And it feels honestly so good to be like seen and accepted in that way and not feel like I have to change my communication style or anything like that. I think that's huge, especially, with all that eldest daughter stuff we grew up with. Like it's so nice to
Yeah.
just be seen and accepted. And I love that.
Yeah. I love it. I love our friendship and I love you because I don't think there's, like you said, we've been friends since we were 19, 18, 19. So you're honestly my most long lasting stable relationship outside of the people that brought me into this world, if I'm honest. And it's just, we've been with each other through so many different seasons. And I think if anybody saw us today, they would be like, oh, of course they're friends. Like,
Hmm.
they're both professionals. They're both doing well in life and they both are like healthy and stable. And of course it's easy for them to be friends. There's like, but it's like, actually we've been through so many different seasons, like
Yeah.
early 20s, like you were saying, crash outs, just different relationships, different careers, different environments. I think like one story I'll share, and it's something we laugh about all the time, is
Oh,
that
God.
I remember, like I said, I came to you about everything when I was dating in my early 20s. And I will
Yeah.
never forget being in a different state. It was New Year's Eve, and a boy had hurt my feelings.
Oh my
And I
God.
was with a whole friend group. Like, I was around people that could have supported me. And I
Surrounded by
remember,
people that cared about you.
yes. And I just remember sitting in this stranger's kitchen floor on the phone crying to Emily, like, I don't know what to do, my feelings are so hurt. And she didn't make me feel bad about it. She had obviously been giving me the advice that I hadn't taken, and in spite of that she was just very supportive, very encouraging, and simultaneously having to manage the people around me because I wouldn't take any help from the people around me. I was going, you're not my best friend, I don't have to listen to you. And Emily would be on speakerphone going, can you make sure she's got some water? Thank you. So when people see us today, it's like y'all don't understand like the lore, the history, like what we have
Right.
really never put each other through, but have been with each other through. And I think that's a huge difference because there's never been judgment, there's never been shame, just pure unwatered down joy, celebration, and like concern for one another.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah,
have any
that's
stories
true.
like that? Maybe not in the same context.
Me being more introverted, like I just didn't get into as much as you did. I stayed home and mind my business.
Oh, I should have been minding my business.
There were definitely still things going on in my life that like you were the only person I wanted to talk to about it. I think even, my husband, then boyfriend at the time, like he knew, like sometimes I would just be like, you know what? I appreciate you trying to help. I'm just going to go call Morgan. I think that'll be better for everybody involved. And he's just like, yeah, okay, fair. Still to this day, he's just like, yeah, okay. You're right.
Honestly,
She
love
is better.
him. Unproblematic king. He is my favorite. But again, because he's always been so supportive of our friendship. And I think I've definitely seen a lot of friendships struggle because a new boyfriend or a new partner,
Hmm.
anybody, even sometimes new friends, will come in and really become jealous and insecure of that friendship, of that bond. And I don't think, maybe not consciously, maybe sometimes consciously, we'll start trying to like take that onto them. Like, no, like I want to be your point person. I want to be who you come to. And sometimes it's not you, boo. Like sometimes it's your best friend, your sister in the trenches that's going to be there for you and support you and understand that. Yeah. I think that's why it's also so important to like know how to choose those friends. You've mentioned it a couple of times now, like knowing when somebody's here for a season and when somebody's here
Yeah.
for life.
I mean, obviously every situation's different. But friends come into your life for different reasons. Sometimes you meet them at work, sometimes you meet them out and about activities that you are involved with. But I think the biggest thing, it's not something that you can tell right off the bat always, like, oh, this is going to be a for now friend and this is going to be a forever friend. I think it's just giving yourself permission and grace to like understand that like it's okay if this isn't a forever friendship. That doesn't make you a bad friend, doesn't make them a bad friend. That's just how life goes. We have people in our lives for however long we need them. We're in their life as long as they need us. And then it just naturally kind of sometimes doesn't continue. And I think that's totally fine. I struggled with that, especially younger, like, those earlier years of our friendship. Like, I had other people in my life that I thought were going to be forever friends. And I thought, like, I, need to put in all this effort and do all this stuff because, like, they're going to be in my life forever. And then when things drifted apart, like, it hurt really bad because I didn't
Mhm.
understand yet that concept of just like having friends for certain seasons of life. I don't know if that's something you experienced.
It sometimes would, absolutely, especially when it's somebody that you thought would be there for the rest of your life. I think
Yeah.
that sometimes like friendship breakups can hurt more than romantic breakups for sure. And it's not always a big blowout. It's not always a disagreement. It's just like you said, like you just moved apart or you started different jobs. And I think that slow feeling of them drifting is like the most painful, especially because you don't know how to describe it or put words to
Yeah.
it.
And it's harder. It feels like you don't really get closure when there's not like this big blow up or whatever. Like if there's a big
Hmm.
blow up, it's really easy to be like, oh, screw them. They never cared about me anyway. But like when it just like
Yeah.
quietly happens without you even realizing it, you're just like, what happened? Like I don't even know if
Yeah.
it was something I did or if it's
Yeah.
just they had something going on in their life. It's yeah, like you said, that can sometimes be way harder than romantic breakups.
It's so much harder. And especially like you said, with us being overthinkers and perfectionists and, trying
Hmm.
to care for people, it's kind of hard not to take it personal. Like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I must have done something. I will say like now as an adult, like it's a lot easier for me to manage those kinds of situations. As I've gotten older and matured and I don't know, I think started recognizing how much a blessing a seasonal friend can be rather
Yeah.
than trying to put the pressure on everyone to be there for life. I think used to, I thought there was always this advice around us when we were younger, like only surround yourself with people that, want the best for you and only surround yourself with people that really matter at the end of the day. And while that's absolutely true, I think it shouldn't be only surround yourself with them. I think it should be prioritize them because
Hmm.
sometimes a seasonal friend is exactly what you need. You're both going to be somewhere for a short period of time and it's a transient experience, but you still bring each other joy just through doing small things together for a short period of time.
Yeah.
Did you ever worry about us growing apart though?
No.
No.
Honestly, just something about our friendship, even though this is maybe one of the most important relationships I have, like I've never really like worried about that or overthought it at all. Because there was never like any time where there was like a weird lapse in communication or no, falling out, no big fight or anything where I thought like we're never talking again after this. Like
Hmm.
there's just never been that for us.
Yeah. I actually
And
don't
it
think people believe me. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'll tell you, I have told people we've never had a fight and they don't believe that's possible. And I didn't realize how rare I think that is just when you're so like in sync with somebody, especially like your best friends. We've never had a huge
Yeah.
disagreement or a fight or anything like that. And I think that's so rare.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've never been like secretly mad at you or anything. Like that's not
Yeah.
something like I've never been like I think we both like maybe had times where like we were kind of like, "Oh, I don't know if she's handling that quite the right way, but like we'll figure it out. It's okay. I'll help her
Hmm.
through it. Like it's not a big deal." That's really more the attitude that I've taken instead of getting like mad at you or frustrated. Like it's really just been like, Morgan's going to do what Morgan's going to do. It's okay. We'll make it through it together. I'll help
Yes.
her.
I think that's such a great example. It really answers that too, because I think when you're drifting apart and you're growing apart, there's like this feeling of disconnection or
Mhm.
disinterest. And you can grow differently without growing apart because, and I think what really keeps it together is when you're growing differently, there's still curiosity. I still want to know what
Yeah.
you're doing. I still want to know what you're facing, even if it was completely different than me, or if we were entering, a transitional time of our lives. I always wanted to know what you were doing. And if it was a career change when you went from teaching into
Girl, tech support, ed tech, whatever you want to call it.
so when you went from teaching into tech support, yeah, like I want to know exactly what was going on. I wasn't there and that wasn't anything I was facing. I've never related to anything like that in my life, but I just remember
Yeah.
every day wanting you to be happy, wanting you to find your people, wanting you to figure out what the next move was, wanting you to get paid for all of the education and knowledge and experience you had appropriately. I just remember that's my best friend and I want her to literally conquer the world. And I always wanted you to tell me what was going on in your life, even if it was so
Yeah.
different than mine.
I think that's so funny, like with my job transition. And I know that it like nobody in my life has been able to like nail down what I do for work. But like I think that just kind of like speaks to us though. Like it's okay that you don't know what I do for work. I don't care. That's so not important to me. But like I feel like I know a lot of people that would take that personally or something. And I'm just like, girl, I don't we don't
I
work
honestly,
together.
I
Why
do
would you
think
know what I do?
if we went on like like a game show together, I feel like I would be able to scrape enough of it together. But they would have to let me answer with a couple of sentences. I wouldn't be able to just give like a one word description. You're like my Chandler being, if I'm honest. It's like a mystery. I love to imagine it.
I feel like everybody's gotta have at least one friend that they're just like, I don't know, ambiguous job.
Ambiguous job.
That's funny.
When we're talking about when talking about like the different seasons and how we maintained our friendship through them, and just how we're obviously such different people, like even just at face value we're so different, what would be something that you really credited us for how we were able to overcome the distance, overcome the differences, and just really hold that space for each other to evolve?
Yeah, I think, like you said earlier, it's really more about consistency than frequency. We've never had like any big, I know I get distracted, maybe take a few days to respond to a text, but like in general, like we've never had any like big gap where we weren't talking. So like we have like kind of constant communication. We kind of always know what's going on in each other's lives. And um, I think really it's a combination of we both are interested in each other's lives, so we're going to keep reaching out, but then also we both want the other person in our lives, so like we're going to keep, it's very reciprocal. And I think that's really key for, navigating a long distance friendship. It also helps that I do accept phone calls now. I've gotten over that
Yes.
part of social anxiety. Phone calls are way easier to catch up on.
Honestly, when you started accepting my phone calls, I felt like I like leveled up a subscription package. Like I went from like the light to the pro when you cold answered my first call, I was like,
Right.
actually, are you okay before I jump in?
That's so funny. Yeah, because I for sure, like, I would see you calling and I would be like, oh, I want to talk to her. But I hate being on the phone so much. Like, it gives me so much anxiety. And so I would panic. And the next thing I knew, like, the call would hang up or whatever. And so I'd just text you and be like, hey, bestie, what's going on? But
You'd be
now
like,
I'm
hey,
just
Bessie, I'm at the farmer's market.
And now I'm just like, I'm so excited to hear from her. Like, let's just, it's fine. Like, and
Yeah.
you're like one of the only people, like, I still have that phone anxiety, but for us, I think that just that communication and stuff is so like critical to our friendship being sustained over the long distance and everything that like,
Mhm.
my body just naturally was just kind of like, nope, it doesn't matter. We got to answer this phone call. That
And
is
I hope you know
Morgan on the other
it's
end.
a badge of honor I wear. I swear. Like, and I don't take it lightly. Like, even sometimes if I just want to like catch up, I'll think like, okay, maybe this is the eldest daughter in me still. Like, okay, it's the Thursday and it's the afternoon, so maybe her phone calls are done for the day. Like, I try not to abuse the power.
I appreciate that. But also, like, I think that's important too that like we recognize what the other person needs. Not that we like completely change ourselves to fit that, but we do try and like acknowledge what the other person needs and try and fit that wherever we can.
Hmm.
I'll let you know sometimes like, hey, I'm really not in a mood to talk on the phone, but like send me a voice message or whatever. And, we can still find ways to communicate. Or like you'll notice that I haven't texted back in a few days and you're like, hey friend, I know you're probably anxious because you feel bad for not responding and I just want you to know it's okay. And I'll be like,
Yes.
you're right, I was, thank you. So I think just like seeing each other so well, it just makes it really easy to maintain things.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of power in giving you the freedom to reset.
There
In fact,
is.
ignore all of this and let's just start here, actually.
Yes. Yes. Because
Yeah.
let's be honest, you do not care that I've not responded to that one text. You're going to send five more about completely different things. And so then I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I have to write a 10-paragraph essay to be able to address all of these. Because I'm not going to call you.
No, you're not going to call me. You're not going to send me a little voice memo. We've actually just started using voice memos more, and I kind of love it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's because I've people have asked me how we've maintained our friendship with so much distance between us, and that's what I will tell them. I'm like, I tell Emily everything I'm doing. And I
Yeah.
can see how to some people that might be kind of exhausting. But to me, it's like, I'm not going to let this little pesky distance that we're forced to have between us get in the way. So you're going with me to pick up my coffee. You're going to hear about
Yes.
how adorable my dog is and how she's sleeping so cute, even though it's how she slept every day for all 7 years of her life. You are in it with me. I want you to know not just the big things. I never want you to feel like I'm only calling you when I'm in a crisis or if I need your help. Like, I want you to know that, okay, I want you to be a part of all the small things, all the funny things, the light things, the mild annoyances. We're in it to win it together to me. And so I'm just constantly utilizing those text messages, Instagram, DMs, voice memos, everything to make sure that we stay connected.
I recommend that to everybody, long distance friendship or not, because I love that so much. And it's something that I've noticed just because making friendships as an adult is hard, especially
So
like
hard.
if you don't have work or school to rely
Yeah.
on to help initiate that. And I have found that like whenever I'm trying to connect with other people, like really what I'm missing is like I want to know like the minor inconvenience you had this morning or like the cute thing that your dog did. Like I want to know that stuff. I'm really tired of I feel like it's so easy to fall back on these like superficial conversations of like, oh, what are you watching lately? Or like,
Hmm.
what plans do you have this weekend or whatever? And I'm like, I can only talk about that stuff so much. It's those little
Yeah.
details or whatever that really endear you to somebody and really help you connect and bond. And yeah, long distance or not, I think those are critical for friendships.
I totally agree. And there's also sometimes that pressure, like when you're meeting people, especially as adults, like I have to present them the best version of myself. And then that ends up
Yes.
not being able to build a true, authentic, vulnerable relationship. So sometimes I
Mm-hmm.
am so grateful that we have the history we have. Something that I've always been really grateful for is that you have never held those like messy moments or those annoying moments or those, really insignificant moments against me. You've always cheered for me, rooted for me. And I've never felt embarrassed to come and show you just like the absolute mess I was in. And so even
Yeah.
today, when my life is so much more like stable and consistent and healthy, like there's never like little digs. Like I said earlier, you're
No.
able to laugh without cruelty, and that's something I appreciate so much. And I think that gives me the safety to be able to be like, "This is me and the new coffee drink I'm trying. Hope you like it." Like, as silly as that
And I'm
might
like, of
feel,
course I do.
I think some people feel silly, and it's okay to feel. You're supposed to feel silly with your best friend, and you have to have that safe space to be able to come and just be a girl with.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah, that security and that safety to do all that stuff is so important. And yeah, I mean, we definitely tease each other. Like, we'll definitely be like, I don't know, bestie, don't you remember this happening? But like, it's never in like a mean way. Like you said, it's always like from a place of love. And like, I would only ever like make those little comments. And I think you're the same way. Like, once you know, like the other person is like fully in a good spot and that,
Yes.
that memory is far enough away that like it's not going to hurt that bad.
Something I always look forward to, and I would only do this if I knew like you were okay with it and you were gonna laugh with me. And it's like an inside joke is when you were wedding dress shopping and I was with
Oh
you
my God.
and we went to so many different boutiques, and we went to this one salon, and this woman, for the record, was lovely. She was genuinely, in her opinion, dressing you for success, but it was just so not you. It was not your fit. It wasn't, it was, the dress was too small, like the headband was too much, and I got a picture of it, and now it's like dress anniversary. I look forward to that day every single year to be able to send you this photo.
And like the crazy thing is, like anybody else, I would be mortified and it would like piss me off every time they sent me that photo. But like I know, like for me, there's no fear of like, I know you're not gonna like post it publicly or something. Like you're not gonna do it
Yeah.
like in a way to embarrass me. You're just gonna be like, hey, remember this crazy thing that we both experienced together? And yeah, even in the photo, like I was able to, normally I would have been like completely beat red and like embarrassed, but like even with you taking a photo of me in that like vulnerable, awkward moment, I was able to just like lean
You
into
owned
it and be
it.
like, yep, here I am.
Yeah, you had that little mini bouquet and you were like, what? Serving, slay, yes. And then you were like, no, really, get me out of here.
Now get me out and get me out of the store, actually. We're
Yes,
done. I've seen what I
please.
needed. I guess thinking about like all those seasons we've been through, and obviously our younger years were not our best, but I'm so happy to say that we have made it through and we're both in a really good place now. And I think, you know, we can joke about like all the crash outs and chaotic dating stories that you contributed in the early years, but I think honestly, like you helped me a lot too with getting to this more stable place because, you know, like I mentioned earlier, like you definitely helped me like with building boundaries and like feeling okay with like saying what I need. And even in the beginning of our friendship, when you were like trying to like, when we first met and you were like, all right, I'm going to be this girl's best friend. And I was just like, slow down. Like from the jump, I was setting boundaries, not even realizing it. You were teaching me to advocate for myself.
I love that,
you'd,
honestly.
you'd be like, oh, I'm going to this party this Saturday. Do you want to come with me? And at first I would be like, no, I have plans. And then eventually you'd keep asking. I'd be like, no, because I don't want to. I'm tired of lying. I'm going to be honest with you straight up. It's just not what I'm into. And honestly, like the fact that that didn't scare you off is amazing. But then, like, we've continued over the years. Like, I've gotten better at communicating, not just with you. You were like my safe space to practice, but like now out in the world with anything, my job, my family, you know, my marriage, other friendships, I'm way more likely to stick up for myself. Even things as little as like, you know, my coffee order being wrong, I would have never, ever, ever, like I would have taken it to my grave. I would have rather like drink expired milk than hurt the barista's feelings. But thanks to you, I'm in such a better place and like able to advocate for myself and not feel guilty about it. I think that's really helped me a lot um, in building like, you know, kind of a really stable and secure life for myself. And I hope I've been able to help you as well with doing that.
Oh my gosh, you definitely have. And I think, like I said, I tell everybody like spiritual advisor, um, manager, like I call you
Mm-hmm.
everything. You for sure have. And but I think it's funny because it's in like such a different way, like just by you like being you and also sometimes very targeted advice you gave me with love and encouragement. Like you always made me feel like even back then, like there was never judgment, there was never like hatred or like,
Yeah.
secret animosity or anything. Like even though your life was definitely a lot calmer than mine, I never felt like you had this like moral high ground. It was almost like you were like, okay, bestie, I'm gonna hold your hand because I really want you on this side with me. I really want
It,
you
it really was. I
to
was
be
like,
here.
I fell ass backwards into this safe, loving relationship early on in my young years. And so I was like, so I have the space to absorb some of your chaos. We're going to help you get out of this.
Yes, yes. I think when I was younger, I was so obsessed with having more adventure, more love, more chaos. I really romanticized. I think that kind of just set the world on fire kind of energy, and I
Mm-hmm.
was always chasing that. Was chasing that, and you were a very just quiet, peaceful place for me to kind of like land. Your encouragement always maintains that for me. It always sustains that. Oh, the world's a little too quiet. I need to have this excitement. You being like, no, Bessie, this is life. This is sustainable. This is where we don't burn out. You have always encouraged me in that. And I don't think that's like a piece I've ever really felt from like other friends, family, legal advisors, mental health counselors, you name it.
I'm so glad. I love that. And I'm so glad that I can do that for you because you do so much for me. I didn't like lean into all of what you thought the world should be back when we were younger or whatever. Obviously, all that chaotic energy, but like I've definitely like I feel like you've kind of popped off and been like, "Hey, I was thinking about doing this trip. Do you want to do it?" And instead of me being like, "Okay, well, I need to do like a cost analysis and like I don't know, think about it. What's my PTO look like?" I'll just be like, "Yeah, we'll make it work. I want to do that with you. Like I'm excited."
Yes.
Or like if I have, I'm trying to get out more, like, be more social and do things or whatever. You're not like ever forcing me or like being like, oh, you have to, like, you can't keep living like this, just being home all the time or whatever. Like you'll just be like, yeah, if you feel up for it, like I think that would be really fun for you, but like no pressure. You
Hmm.
don't have to, force yourself to do that stuff. And I think just hearing from you that like, oh, you don't have to force yourself to be this way gives me like makes me feel empowered to let myself become that way if that's what I
Yeah.
really want. So like yeah, just kind of like what you said, I just felt like you've always been like a safe space for me to kind of really reflect and kind of grow into what I really want to be in my life.
Hmm.
So I'm glad we've been able to do that for each other, like achieve the same thing, but just in such different ways.
Such different ways, yeah. And honestly, like, I know exactly what you're talking about because there have been times you've said yes, and I was honestly surprised. I think you
Yeah.
agreeing to host the show with me, I'm surprised. You agreeing to, go to concerts with me, I was surprised. But I think that's like proof to me, and I hear this from people a lot, like, keep inviting your friends, guys. Like, so your
Yeah.
friend may say no, but they want to be invited, and sometimes they say yes and it surprises you. And I think for me, ultimately, no matter what I'm doing, I always want you with me, but I'm not upset if you choose not to be. I don't take that personal.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm always like, okay, Bessie, I'm going to do this. Do you want to go? And when you say yes, I am psyched. I'm so excited. I look forward to, like, it's just kind of a ritual we've started to develop, this annual girls trip we go on. I look forward to that every
Yeah.
year. And when you agreed to do the show with me, I was so excited. And whenever we've been able to pop out and do things that I wasn't expecting, I loved it. But I will say at the same time, when you've joined me on these big adventures, I've also loved when we just like catch up on the phone at home, when we've just gone and gotten a coffee and looked through some vintage stores. Like, I equally enjoy those quiet moments with you as well. So for me, it's just like that perfect give and take.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
I think just like, it's always so fun to kind of go down memory lane and think about like where we came from and how far we've come today to just living the life that, if I'm honest and I reflect too much about our life today, it'll have me like crying in the club on a Tuesday. I swear, like, we are beyond my wildest dreams. Like, just the profession I'm in, the relationships I have, the place I am with my family. Like, it's so much more than I ever would have like imagined for myself, that I'm so grateful I'm here. But more than that, I'm so grateful I'm with you here. That being said, this is a friendship so far removed than what I would have ever thought of when I was a little girl. Like we
Yeah.
said, growing up, it was always like, I need to go and convince these people that I am the best version of myself. And I always thought, if I can't be that, then I don't need to be their friend. This friendship is so different to me than that. I think the little Morgan would have been so surprised because I don't try to hide my messes from you half the time. If you're not already there with one, I'm handing you a mop. Like, please come help me clean this mess up. It's too much for me right now. And that is to me like true, authentic sisterhood, honestly, that I'm so grateful for.
Oh
So
my God.
that's all I was going to say. Is there anything like little Emily would, be surprised by
Yeah.
yourself today?
Yeah. All of it, first of all, but like with this friendship in particular, I don't think I could have ever imagined having a friendship where I feel so secure and safe and not worried about how I'm presenting myself or if I'm going to screw it up or anything like that. I think I mentioned earlier that, I always kind of felt like I was just kind of getting tagged, like I was tagging on to other existing friend groups. Because I mean, we didn't live in a little cul-de-sac neighborhood, and my parents weren't super social people either because they were working all the time. So I didn't have that example set for me on how to like socialize with people, and I didn't have a whole lot of like just natural, easy proximity friends. I just always felt like I kind of didn't belong in any of the friend groups I was in, and that almost people just kind of like tolerated me being there, which doesn't feel good, obviously. So like I said, it just feels so unimaginable for my younger self, like to even be able to process how accepted and loved I feel in our friendship, and how this friendship has made me so much better in other friendships and relationships I have. It's just I never could have imagined it.
Yeah. Honestly, like, even hearing that story, it brought out like the protective side of me. Like, I wanted to go to all
I
of your
saw
like
it.
childhood
I
friends
saw
and
it.
be like, why did you make my best friend feel this way?
I thought. You were like, I probably know some of them. Like, because we didn't grow up
Oh,
too far from each other. You were like, I could
yeah.
probably get a hold of that yearbook. I'm going to go find all these people.
I'm sending a personalized email tonight to every single one of them.
Not necessary. Not necessary.
Okay, I'll let it go.
But yeah, like it just, again, that's just why I value our friendship so much, because it's so different from what I've ever had with anybody else in any stage of my life. So
Yeah.
very
And like
grateful.
you said, if I don't feel in my spirit the same way with somebody else that you make me feel, what am I doing here?
If anybody's making you feel anything less than, like if you feel like they wouldn't want to know about the cute thing your dog did that they honestly do every day, but it's still cute.
Yeah, she didn't get less cute.
If you feel like they don't want that stuff from you or they find it annoying, like, I don't know, that's like baseline minimum from a friend to like care about your life and what's important to you.
Well, Betsy, I definitely think I've taken up enough of your time today. So, everybody that's joined in, we're so excited that you joined with us today and took part in our conversation. We will be back in 2 weeks to have more honest conversations and reflect on friendship and life and sisterhood and girlhood and what it all means. If you've ever been the girl that felt like you didn't have a safe place to crash out or you didn't have the friendships to come just be your full authentic self, we really hope you join us and you feel at place here with us.
Yeah, we're so happy you guys are here. We definitely look forward to you joining us and tagging along as we dive more into friendships and growing and all of our healing journey. So be sure to check in with us. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at a little bit pod. We look forward to seeing you guys.